9 million lines, but then it got to a point they didn't have a choice. You know, they got to a point. Now this over here, this has been up since Christmas. Happy birthday, Judith. This is a little restaurant, and the woman got very ill during this year who runs this restaurant because it's really, it's so handy to have it here. It's all home cooking and it's all, and then people from, we'll walk up there for the community health clinic and so forth. We have a factory next door. See, we're here late because I wanted you to walk through the factory too.
By the people that we
such a
talked to
home.
who were, we made sure it was like
Down
regular
there,
people.
Southern Echo.
It's a very homey. Like it.
Community groups. Oh, there are many. But not much anymore. You know, the rural. Coming into
He wants to be good workers, but they started as really everything was organized throughout the nature of work. And I knew this year particularly.
That's why I went to divinity school.
And because most of the churches are connected one way or another, or people in their church, with the coal company, they don't want to have anything to do with the organizing that goes on, so they want to give you their facility. So we needed a place that was neutral in that sense, you know, but a community place. We originally had, the community center was down on the left-hand side as you come in, there's a little playground there now. The community center used to sit there, it was a little wooden building. And we had a big organizing effort back in the late 70s, when we were mid-70s, trying to organize to get the federal strip mine bill passed, so that there would be some regulations as far as what was going on here with the coal industry. Now, usually you don't want to go federal, but in the state, nothing was happening. Everybody was being paid off. So there had to be a federal strip mine. And so we used to meet, and we had a chapter of what we call the Virginia Citizens for Better Reclamation. It started in the Wise County area and then broke off into different chapters all through the coal field. And we had a huge chapter of this group.
Yes, my name is
Yeah, and
Jill
then we would
Carson.
meet at the
My
center,
husband called in
gather
yesterday,
people and organize and
15 past
trying
midnight.
to get more
I
and
don't know
more
whether it's booked
push
or not,
for people
but
to
his name
push
is
for this
Ron
federal strip
Carson.
mining bill.
And
And
the dates that
we
he
had a
gave,
group
we
from
had to talk to
Tennessee
our church
that we
about
were
this,
working
but
with
he
and
gave
coordinating
7,
with.
July
And
11th
they
through
came
the
up to meet
17th.
with us one night. And this was the time when
And
the
they
video
asked
was
us
just
to
coming out, and it was on those
make
big
the
tapes.
starts. Oh,
Remember
yeah.
how
Oh, yeah.
cumbersome they were? And it was such a mess. Anyway, they had some very good
Saturday,
pictures
11.
of some of their strip mines and some of the struggles that were going on in their community. And they were sharing with our community what they were doing there
Okay,
and
thank
some
you.
of the struggles, and we would kind of work together and energize each other, you know, on something. And so it brought in hundreds. They were out in the street. They couldn't even fit into the community center. We had so many people. The following weekend, very, you know, suspiciously, the center was burned down. And they were never investigated. They just burned down. But see, if you take a meeting place away from community groups, it's very hard to organize. You have to have a place where you can meet. So that was gone. And we fortunately had a mayor here at that time who was one of the activists with us because it was destroying this community. He owned a hardware store here. And the hardware store wasn't making it. I mean, more people moved out and harder, because there were 2 hardware stores in this one.
Okay, thank you.
Both of which are gone now. One is now the dental office, we'll tell you that story. And then this one, he said, what we'll do, because there was a board and a community board with the community center here, and he said, I'm going to get rid of the hardware store. I have somebody who's willing to buy up my inventory, and he said, I'd like the community center, you know, board to place here, and you can buy it as you want. We're selling, I'll sell it for X number of dollars, and you take as long as it takes you to pay. Now, like, and then nothing like it. So, you know, and so that was good again, because it made people come out and do things that would raise money, you know. So people did all kinds of things. We had a lot of,
We'll be back
you know,
shortly.
all kinds of
Hello?
cultural things coming out here
Did
at
Daddy call
Cassette.
Alice?
People would put on plays, and people would act
Oh,
out,
I
and
hang
people
up
would sell
basketball,
goods, and
right?
people would sell, they did everything.
Yeah.
It was like our nickel and dime health clinic up there that we called.
Here?
I was gonna call her
This
and
was
say
here.
you-
They weren't in this building yet. They were doing this
Because
in the
I didn't
town
know
here.
if you
Okay.
did.
And then what he did was, once he got his inventory out, even before it was kind of turned over to something, we were able to use the building to gather people. And because, and that way then eventually it was paid off, and they had a big celebration when it was paid off. And this was the, you know, community center. So it's used for everything.
Okay.
A lot of days, during the day, it's used for school. Mountain Empire Community College is in the next, where you were yesterday in Big Stone Gap, that's where the community college is. And we went to the community college and said, well, you're a community college, that means you want to be in the community. That's what you're about. That's why community colleges are, being community colleges, you need to be in the community. Now, what can you do? Because people here could not get to the community college. Most people didn't have transportation, and there wasn't any public transportation. So the school was there, and the people were here who needed the community college. So the president at that time was very open to that and said, well, this is what I believe in, and this is what I believe we ought to be. And so they had centers in different places outside of the community college where they came into communities. This is one of the big centers. And then at that time, all kinds of courses were given. And we had people here in the local community. One of our sisters, her and I, really started the education program, trained a woman in the area, and that's kind of what they do, is train and move out of the way. I mean, the local people then just take over. And now it's a woman in the area that came through here and was trained, and she's the coordinator of the whole program here. And so here they have like, some people are just here to just learn how to read and write. Others are here for the GED, get the high school diploma. Others are here with college courses, and many of whom chose to go into, because they're one of the things that are open for people, health providers. We need health providers in every area. It's an elderly community, so we have nursing homes, a lot of nursing homes. Hospitals need health providers and so forth. So a lot of people from here, that went through here and then got a college education and went on, then ended up working, some of them here, because we have a community health clinic. It started with the community, built its own clinic. And then that developed over the years. So it's all connected. The community has worked to just step by step try the two things, to build the community and to stop those outside interests that were destroying the community. You know, who kept saying, we can't do anything, there's nothing here for you, or would somebody be calling you back? Okay. Did you call on that? Hello? Hello? All of these, we're just visitors here, I don't know anything about, we're just using the facility here. Okay, thank you. Rick was calling on behalf of the American Bible Society. I was going to sell or something. But anyway, so this then became, so all of the organizing around some of the things that we had to organize around in challenging coal companies and that kind of thing. This was a wonderful facility to be able to do this, and it was the community's facility, so that it wasn't. Public hearings are here. Hearings when a coal company has, every time they're going to do something new or a new operation up there, they have a permit application, and then they have to have a hearing and so forth. So a lot of the community input takes place right here in the community center on some of these hearings and that. So it's really, it has everything in it, a variety of things that go on here. And maybe you have questions, you know, because it's just.
I was curious about the health clinic that you were talking about.
Okay. Back here in 1973, there was a group of students, you know, in the late 60s and early 70s, there were so many activists on the college campuses, you know, and really wanted to make changes and wanted to do things. And Vanderbilt University Medical School was no different from any other place. And they had a lot of people in the medical school who were real activists, and they wanted to see some changes. And they really wanted to get right down and be serving medically underserved communities and all that kind of thing. So a person there, one of the department people there who was very wise. I said, these people are too itchy and restless. We're going to do something with this group, get them out into communities. So they had this vision of having health fairs in communities in the Appalachian region, Central Appalachia, that were medically underserved. They started, of course, in Tennessee, because Vanderbilt University is housed in Nashville, Tennessee. And after in those communities, they would go in the summertime, and they'd run a health fair. There were many people in the community for the first time ever that ever have had a physical, have seen a doctor, have seen a dentist, have had anything done for them,
Right.
to provide health care. At that time in this county, we had 5 doctors in the entire county. 5. We had a little building over in Pennington Gap. Most people called it the first aid station, but it was the hospital. We did not have, in that hospital, we had 1 RN on the staff. Everybody else was a nurse's aide. We didn't have a pharmacist in the hospital, no pharmacist, so everybody was getting meds. And we had 5 doctors in the community. And one surgeon of those 5, he was a surgeon, he was 82 years old. And he'd be the only surgeon. And he used to do surgery, and didn't have anybody with him, But it was kind of, as it would be in any community that didn't have health services, and they had to do what they needed to do to provide it for themselves. So here, in this community, the Vanderbilt University people they saw that they could come over the line into Kentucky and into Virginia, because it was the same kind of makeup of communities, coal communities that didn't have services. And so they wanted to come into other communities because they had the numbers to do that with. And it was really through a person whom they had contacted in Big Stone Gap, and just by chance, I would say by chance really what happened, she knew who I was because I had met her at something. And she called up and she said, Vanderbilt University would like to do a health fair in some community in Southwest Virginia that's medically underserved. She said, the first place I thought of was St. Charles or Keokee. Okay, these were the 2 coal mining areas. And, but she said, they have to be invited in by the community. And the whole way that was done, and everything was wonderful. And so they came in and they met with community groups. They talked to people. Nobody was asking them to come in, because there were people that didn't, live here, and after a while, and they talked about what they could do and what their services would be, but never said they would have a health fair here. And finally, after about the 3rd or 4th meeting, people were breaking down and became more friendly and more exposed. And one of the young doctors said, is there any need for health services in this community? Dead silence. Nobody was answering. Well, I was getting itchy. Somebody answered or something, because we needed it so badly. Finally, somebody got up and said, if we had had a doctor in this community, so-and-so would not be dead today, and so-and-so would not be dead today. They were talking about our mining accidents that we had up here. We had so many people killed in the mines. They said, if a doctor had been here at that time, and they would name the persons, who were brought out, but there was no doctor and nobody took care of them. So then they started to tell their stories, about what had happened here and what difference it would make if we had some health services. So to make a long story short, they were invited into the community. The beautiful thing was they trained community people to do all of the, for instance, all of the intakes for anybody who come into the health care were done by people in the community who were able to read and write and take that down. Others were trained to do eye examinations. Others were trained to do blood pressure. Others were trained, it was just, they trained people to do things that people would be able to do on their own, so that they became also part of the providers here when people came in. Well, the health fair was open to anybody. It wasn't just this community. Well, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. People came from all over. They came across the line from Harlan County. And the health fair was set up down at the school. And it was very, very difficult even to get the permission, number one, to have Vanderbilt University medical students in here. None of the doctors were happy with that at all, even though there were no services. So that was the struggle, just to get the okay of we had to go to the medical community and then their board and get it. But we had one elderly doctor who'd been here for years, Dr. Kinzer, who was open. And he, by that time, was president of the board of the local, this area, you know, doctors, and he really wanted this healthcare developed. So he helped and he pushed for it for us. And then the school was used for all its equipment. They brought in all kinds of equipment. You know, they had x-ray equipment and they had everything possible on these mobile units that they brought in. And it was everything that they had. And
Did they do them like on weekends, or was it
all
like?
during the week. It was
All
several
during-
weeks, all week. And what they did was they were there the whole time. The medical people who were males slept down at the school, so that because there was an awful lot of equipment there, and they were responsible for it. All of the women lived in homes of people here. So people invited them to live in their homes. This would get a community gathering for anybody, and the poorer the home, the more the invitation was given. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. People just opened their doors. So it was wonderful because they also wanted to get a feel of what is the home, what is the situation out of which people are coming. They learned, number one, many didn't have any water in their homes. Many had no indoor plumbing. And so they were learning many things so that they weren't taking things for granted when people were coming into them for them to give care. So the concept was beautiful because people were very proud to have nurses in their homes. And they dressed as nurses. They were glad to have people who, you know, were walking up and down all of these camps here. This is a dead-end town, and it just forks into all little co-camps with its own little name. And you'd see nursing students, you know, walking down here and in the nursing. Oh, everybody was so proud, you know, this. And then to come in, and we'd have people from St. Charles. Nobody ever came into St. Charles for anything. It was called Dodge City, because we had a lot of killings here all the time out here on the streets. It was terrifying.
Dodge City.
Dodge City. They called
Like-
it Dodge City. And no, we didn't have any law here, because they always ran the law off, and they became a law unto themselves.
Well, when we moved,
Yeah.
when they asked Ronnie, would he be the sheriff here?
Yeah.
They asked my husband, would he be the sheriff here? They thought we didn't know the history.
They asked one person.
Yeah, sure.
They asked one person to do it, and they said, "You don't like me too much, do you?" You're gonna be- Yeah, but anyway, so it was just a wonderful, you know, time. But as they
Are
were
there police here
here,
now?
pardon me?
Is there a police here
No.
now?
So as they went through, you know, and went through this whole process during the summer, what happened was, some of the really fancy people in, you know, Jonesville and Jim were coming in because they had no access to doctors either. They had to go to Kingsport and they had to go to Bristol. So they wanted to come in and take advantage of this, you see. And then it was wonderful because here it was the St. Charles population that was doing all the intake, doing their eyes, taking all of this, but they came, and you know, and you could see every day everybody got a little bit prouder, you know. They came into our community. They're coming to our community, you know, and we're also, they were checking their eyes and we're doing the intake. Oh, it was wonderful. Out of that, by the way, we did have a lot of people who went on to get into health services, went to school here, and are doing some wonderful work now. But after that summer, we got together and we talked about it, and we said, why should we have health services one summer for 3 weeks? You know, they also had follow-up here, and so that if anything was found that became, in fact, 2 people are alive today, and will tell you that, because of that health care, because they detected some very serious things, and they did the follow-up on it for them. But and because of that, you know, looking at it, they were going to come back another year, because there was severe problems. And they said they had never been in an area where they had to keep sending back for this medicine for worms, you know, because of bad nutrition and what people were eating. And they said they sent back to Nashville, I don't know how many times. They couldn't believe the children's, these protruded stomachs and what had happened, because they said we had not been in a community where that was so bad. So at the end of the summer, we gathered together and we said, why just 3 weeks, or next year, 3 weeks and it's all over? Why don't we have our own health clinic? People look at that, why we have our own health clinic? I said, you know, we could build our own health clinic. So we formed the St. Charles Health Council. And then we talked about this, we met all the time, we had news, and we you know, got together. And we decided, as a community, we were going to build a health clinic. Everybody laughed. I mean, everybody in this county thought this was the biggest joke. And so while we were doing it, we went to the Board of Supervisors to ask them if they would give us any money to help us with this building. And they almost, it was ugly. I mean, the persons who went felt very put down, and it was almost like they were very scornful. Yeah, it wasn't. They asked the coal companies, you know, put all the money here anyway, would they give any money to it? And they didn't want the health clinic, because the health clinic meant St. Charles was going to go on existing. And the companies had only one thing in mind: we've got to get rid of this community because they get in the way. See, we don't want people here who are going to, you know, prevent us from doing what we want to do. They wanted to keep coming down the mountain and taking these coal camps to get more coal. So they weren't a bit, you know, accepting, you know, and encouraging for this health clinic. So people said, yeah, do it with you. So they had, what they did, we had a lot of talent shows, an awful lot. What happened was, there was so much talent here, so much musical talent, so much written talent, poetry, song, everything that started to come out of the woodwork. And we had all kinds of talent shows in the center, and this was in the old center. And so it brought people together for the first time. People in each camp didn't know each other well. They were very isolated. And people really came together. Anyway, they built the health clinic. Retired miners built it, cinder block by cinder block. And they kept saying, we have to have a roof on here before the winter comes, or everything will be ruined inside and so forth. Well, they'd be out there all hours in this cold, cold weather, but they got the roof on, so we had a cinder block building. That's all we had, cinder block building. Oh, we went through a big process to get the land and all of that. It was all struggle all the time. Charlie Province, who is the funeral director in Pennington Gap, is an old St. Charles boy and has always stayed connected to St. Charles, and he was so helpful with all this. So anyway, we did get a building up. And then it became, who's going to come? And how are we going to get equipment for the building? Anyway, we wrote a few grants. We did get some funding for equipment for the building. And then, but everybody who came into St. Charles, they'd be all excited. We want to come into a community, we want to serve and so on. They'd come in and they'd leave. You know, they weren't a bit interested. And see, because this dead ends. Nothing comes through here. You know, unless you're coming here for a reason. There's no place to go once you get into it. So we got a nurse practitioner who was very interested, who had been with the first and second health fair here, and she wanted to stay on. And we had a doctor who was willing to be her backup. So it started, it opens its doors with very little equipment and a nurse practitioner. And then she hired someone of the group who had worked through the summer to help her as an aide and so forth. Then a doctor came into the area, whom some of us knew. And we knew he had one thing in mind. He wanted to live here in the mountains, he wanted to build a house, he wanted to make some money, but he wasn't a bit interested in the community. But he wanted some kind of job that would be a little easy, you know, that he could be paid and then he could build his house. So he went to the board, that was the personnel, but people were going to hire him. And I remember sitting home saying, hope they won't hire him. Hope they won't hire him. Hope they won't hire him. He's going to take them, he's going to use them. So they had their interview, and you'd think, because they've been waiting a long time, a year for a doctor, and no doctor. And they came back, and one of the men came up and knocked at the door, and he said, oh, we didn't hire him. Oh, I said, no, you didn't hire him. I said, I thought you finally had a doctor. And I was thinking, thank God. And he said, you know what he was here for? He was here for himself, not for us. Picked it up right away. The wisdom, you know, the big one. Didn't. But at that time, Dr. Art Van Zee, who some of you know, Art Van Zee was one of the persons who came in with this group from Vanderbilt University for the health fair. He wanted desperately to be in a community like this. But he thought by the time this was over and the clinic up and moving, we would long have had a doctor. Well, we didn't. And it's the best thing that ever happened to us. He's been here from the beginning, and he's still here. Now that's sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, had we not had a doctor like himself, we had people coming and going all the time, as many of the other health clinics did have in Tennessee and Kentucky. They're closed. They didn't last. But because we had a doctor who stayed and weren't putting the time into getting that all the time, but this man was working around the clock. I mean, it was just awful. I mean, he just worked. And he lived up in one of the little houses up here in the mountain here, didn't have any water in his home, and he lived exactly the way everybody else was living here. And it was really, it was just wonderful, and to this day, he's the same man. He lived in a very nice home, but he's the same man. But, so he's, because of that, then over the years, this built up, and we're going to go up and see it. We now have a big dentist office. It used to be an old hardware store that we recycled, because that was a good building. We didn't want buildings pulled down if you could save them. So that went up, as we call it, the recycled building there, an old hardware store. It's beautiful, the dental office. And we've had 2 dentists up until this point. We just lost one of them, but we have dental hygienists, and they're very well equipped and very well managed. The doctors, the clinic up there now has several providers, and we have, well, 3 doctors, 3 doctors right now, and 3 nurse practitioners, and then several nurses, and we now have, we got the funding, the contract for the Black Lung Clinic where Jill's husband works. And so the Black Lung Clinic is up there, and that provides, that's the services for all of those persons, minors throughout the area. They come from all over. His caseload is, thousands. People who are trying to get their black lung benefits. And Ron goes into court with them and does all of the legwork to try to get black lung benefits for those who should be getting them, because of health reasons and their disabilities. But, so it has grown, and then it has become a model for small mountain community clinics. Now it's called, this is St. Charles Community Health Clinic of Stone Mountain Health Services. It's Stone Mountain Health Services because of people asking for help from St. Charles. How did you begin? How did you do this? How did you do this? They have several places now, and they're all on, they started with the St. Charles Computer Network and is doing that. So it's amazing what came out of a small group of people saying, why don't we have our, and be able to have it. Once that happened, that was a success story. And when you have success, you feel good, right? So they were ready to take on everybody, anything, I mean, the energy was there,
Mm-hmm.
Then the coal companies came after the clinic was up, after it seemed to be running well, offered to give them money, big donations to them, big donations. This is early on, before they had very much done. And they said, we would like to have this room, and we'll call it, because this was the coal company's name. And the other one said, we'll have this room, we could put a clock on it with the coal company's name. And they said, keep your money, we don't want it. It wouldn't take a penny from it. And this was when they were struggling in the beginning to really get money from anywhere to go. They absolutely refused to take money from the coal companies. They said, you weren't here when we needed you, we don't need your money now. And if any names are going to go up there, they took out this loose leaf paper. It's pages of loose leaf paper, and all these names, 25 cents, $1, 75 cents, 10 cents, all these little names are all on this, and they said, if any plaque goes up, here's our plaque right here. These are the people who built this clinic. I thought, doesn't that, but I think it's a story of really, of people who, the determination, the wisdom, to know the difference between somebody who's coming in, who's going to take them, and somebody who really is here because going to be there for the people, and just and not to be taken by the very coal companies so many of them work for. But they saw right away. It was like, you've done enough to us, you've used us enough, and you're using a lot of us still. But we're not going to go this far for you. You're not getting your name into our clinic. Mm-hmm. This is our clinic, community clinic, not yours. So, I mean, that was where they drew them up, and it was very clear. Even though some of them, with their paychecks, even being paid by the coal companies, they asked if they could have a certain amount that could go out and be donated to the clinic, so they wouldn't spend it, that kind of thing. And, they did that, But as soon as it became, this is going to be my room with your name on it, that was it, they drew them on. So it was a powerful story, and we call it our nickel and dime clinic. And we'll just look at it, we'll just go up and look at it. You see it's kind of the center now of the community here. And then they went from that to build their own, the money to get some work here, and The factory store is a very long struggle, and the restaurant, now they have a clothes closet up there. But I mean, they've just, little by little, and have taken some pride, because this whole place was with buildings that were abandoned, falling down, dangerous buildings. And then through getting a community development block grant, as long as we could start a business that had hired X number of people, we were able to get it. And then they
I'm a performance artist and a teacher,
Okay.
and I've worked for many years, and I'm still connected with the American Festival Project.
I understand that. Okay. Can you briefly just explain a little bit what that's about?
Well, the American Festival Project has been many things, but essentially are a group of artists who are interested in how their work can connect with, can make alliances with, can help make changes with people in various communities.
Well, that's good. So you bring art to a lot of people that's essentially starving for art, I guess.
No.
Well, okay. Just blew that one. You're supposed to agree with me.
Well, I didn't want to. I don't think we would say that people that we work with in various communities are starving for art. I think that what we're most interested in is connecting with people who have their own ways of, their own stories, their own ways of expressing themselves, and who we may help or who we also learn from. So it's, we're definitely interested in exchanges.
So we do what? Poetry, song, dance, music,
Performances, art, dance, storytelling, writing, and whatever may come up in contact with people.
Well, that's great, man. That sounds great. You guys been all over the country.
Yes.
Well, that's good. That's good. So how do you like the mountains? Have you found the Appalachian area?
I've heard it in many, many different ways, and have experienced it in many different ways, the beauty here.
Yeah.
And when you talk about some of the other aspects of this area, you must include the absolute beauty here.
Yeah, it's kind of peaceful. See, I'm from New York City, so I came here and it's like culture shock. One thing I had to get used to was not hearing the ambulances and the police cars run up and down the road. So, but once I got into it, found a lot of things, a lot of avenues and whatnot.
You hear the birds.
Yeah.
Early in the morning.
Yeah. I think they're on a schedule too, around about 5 a.m.
That's when
They start. I was like, what is that sound? I've never heard that before. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, we got a gentleman over here. Tried to talk to him earlier, but he kind of got shy on me. But now I got you. See?
Yeah, my name is Ren Smith.
Okay.
Not here representing any particular organization. I guess if I have a thing, it's poetry.
Okay.
I'm here with this group of artists to sort of learn, reflect, echo.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Just do a lot of poems and poetry. You been published anywhere? Or?
Yeah, I've gotten a few things published. I have a piece coming out in the magazine African Voices out of New York City, actually.
Hey, New York.
Birthplace there. Yeah, I'm from Philly.
Oh, you're from Philly. Okay, so you kind of agree. So you kind of know what I'm going through as a person from the city.
Yeah, I'm going through it. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe a little later on in the show, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you could share something off the top of your head.
Well, I'm trying to maybe dig something out of the notebook or something.
Dig something out the notebook. That'd be cool. We'll get on. Okay, y'all. I know, but ignoring the phones, I know you guys been calling in, and I'm very sorry about that. But I'm just so excited. We got a whole array of panel here in the studio. We also got somebody that they don't want to get on the air right now. That's their prerogative. which maybe we can try to talk and get on later on. All right, right now I'm coming off the request line. Next song is TLC No Scrubs, and it goes to James Pickman from Casey. TLC, let's check it out. Cassette. Like I said, y'all gotta forgive me, man. You know what I'm saying? Just getting used to this new studio and everything. Okay, one more time. TLC, let's check it out. Wow, you guys are great, man. I can't believe it. That's fantastic. And I'll tell you, yes it is. Nothing much. What's going on? What do you want to hear? Nah, shut up. Nah. Okay, here's the go for the Winchester. Where's it from? Okay, I sure will. Alright, thank you. That yoga. That yoga.
Bad stuff, man.
Huh?
It's the bad stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I turned on a few things right here if you're interested.
You gonna show me a few things here? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Breathing. A little breathing.
A little breathing? Okay. Alright. I might need do some of that because I'm kind of stressed out right now. Okay. What a girl wants, don't have it. I got you want something about her or anybody I love talking about him. Okay, who's it going to now? Okay, Sarah. Okay, all right, bye-bye. So what? Everybody's basically from Los Angeles, or
From New York.
you're from where?
New York.
Oh, you from New York?
Yeah.
Hey, all right. What part?
Lower East Side.
Oh, Lower East Side. Okay.
You're tuned to Mountain Community Radio, WMMT, Whitesburg, serving Fort Gay, Fort Blackmore, and Fort Seam.
Yeah.
Just say a little bit about the origin of your name, your radio name.
Well, it started as a joke. Well, you can see I have a great haircut here. Okay. I used to work in a supermarket. They call it Piggly Wiggly. Okay. Alright, so there was a guy that was working there. We used to bag groceries together. The guy was kind of short. So being from New York, I pick on him a little bit. I said, man, you know where I'm from? So we call guys like you shorty love. So he looked at me and he said, I'll call you DJ 8-Ball. And it just kind of stuck like that, you know, the name just kind of stuck. Everybody, I first came down here to MMT with another guy that used to do the show. They call him VIP. And when he introduced me, he just called me DJ 8-Ball. And that name just stuck, man. I've been here for about 3 years now. Yeah. I've been doing it for about 3 years. I started from, I had no idea what I was doing. Just trying different things. I've been a DJ for a long time. I've been in this business for about a little over 15 years. You know? And when VIP left the show, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I just tried little different things, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I was getting a lot of mail from the prisoners. You know, they were talking about they like the show, they like the music, because I'm the only R&B show, you know, in this area. And a lot of guys, they can relate to it, so I try to read some of their mail or give them shout outs and let them know, you know, I'm just thinking about, you know, guys like that, because my heart goes out to those guys, man. I know, you know, they're not saints or nothing, and everybody makes a mistake, but a lot of them, they don't deserve the treatment that they all going through, you know. I really take that to heart. I try to listen to these problems. There's not really much I can do, you know, as one person. So I try to get information out to them, or I try to get information out to my audience and let them know, you know, what's going on in these prisons and things like that. Yeah.
I got a couple of others.
Yeah, that's the main I get most of my mail is from Red Onion.
I was surprised that they allowed one of those to even get out of the prison because it was so graphic about what's going on.
Yeah.
Again, my heart went out also. Fascinated me that when the indicated that the prisons were not easily built up in order to sustain the industry, that they were extending more time to them for very tacky reasons, you know, adding years onto their time for.
Yeah. Well, you see, I mean, let's face it. I mean, that is, like you said, it's an industry. That's the only way they're gonna make the money. I mean, if everybody all of a sudden became a saint overnight, there was no more crime, those guys would go out of business, and that would mean the end of a lot of jobs for a lot of people, and you know. But I mean, even though they are in charge, like I said, they're in charge of these folks, they don't have to treat them the way they do. That's why I try to add guys businesses and stuff.
This is listener-supported WMMT, serving Garrett, Grundy, and Glenmorgan.
8.7 WMMT with hits come on to play. Snoop Doggy Dogg and the East Siders and G'd Up. We're here chilling, like I said, got a whole bunch of guests. I'm just so excited. Michael Ann is proud. I know they're proud of baby boy. He's growing up. It's just so good to be here. Let's see if we can get some more feedback. Anybody wanna just throw something in? Where'd the poet go? He just ran out on me. Okay, let's see. No, don't pass the mic, man. Say something there. Yeah, say something. Just tell us a little bit about what you are into there, what you do. Real dramatic pause. Deep breath. Spotlight on.
I'm into sitting back and listening right at the moment.
Okay. Oh, all right. Okay.
I'll
Okay.
say
Wait a
so.
minute. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
You mentioned earlier about if you were doing yoga, if you had to give up your hamburgers and your Big Macs and such.
Yeah, Whopper fan.
And my answer to that was, not necessarily. It's up to you. You make those choices. But I do try to teach the kids that we work with and the folks that we work with to think about diet a little bit, because it does have an effect, on how you react to things. So I'm a vegetarian myself, and I've been a vegetarian for 35 years or more.
Right.
And I think the most important thing to me is that since I love food, that it's really delicious, whatever it is that I consume. But I'd like to just say that sometimes it's good to think about that, because it does affect your energy, it affects your emotions. People who eat a lot of sugar tend to become more emotional or reactive about things, and so just cutting down some of the sugar, some of the caffeine tends to make people more depressed, feeling a little bad or down sometimes, and so though sometimes it's hard to get a hold to things that will make you feel good and not have caffeine or sugar in them, it's something to think about. It's another choice to make, So I talk to these kids, I say, okay, well, look, now if you're studying for an exam or you're doing something where you need some energy, think about laying off of the sugar just to test yourself out and see what it feels like. And then if you do well or you don't do well or whatever, it's okay, but then check it out again and then take a lot of sugar before you study to see how that affects your moods, because what we do eat does affect how we feel and how we react to things. So as far as your hamburger is concerned, I wouldn't say no to you. I would just say, check it out. Try going a day or two without one and see how you feel. And if you feel good, if you feel like you've got more energy, you've got more, you feel better about yourself, then that's your decision to keep leaving a few of them out every now and then.
Well, that's cool. I have to learn how to drive by McDonald's. I don't know. I'm like a magnet, though. I see it there. Those golden arches, man. And they say, "Oh, Big Mac, man." Let's have a Big Mac. But it's kind of cool though. Vegetarian. I've thought about that, man, for a while.
A lot of people are starting to embrace it more and more, because they found that it not only makes them feel good, but it can also be very satisfying.
That's totally without meat. There's no turkey or nothing like that. You do eat chicken and turkey.
Well, some people do. Some people do. And
But
especially if you're just getting started, it's not a bad way to kind of ease off of things until you discover how well you can do without any of it.
Okay, all right. I got to keep that in mind, man.
Food for thought.
Yeah, food for thought. Eat an apple, banana.
Just don't eat anything bigger than an anchovy.
That's kind of hard, man. Usually I order a pizza and stuff. Man, I always talk making me hungry now. See, I'm going to go when I get home. No, but I order pizza and I always got to have some type of meat, man. Beef or, I know it's not good. And pork especially, it's not good for people of color, African Americans especially. It's just not good for us, man. And we just run to it,
It's more an idea of, I think, a mindset, and I think that's one of the things that we try to get across. We get locked into a certain kind of thinking, a certain pattern of doing something, and we feel that this is it. This is who I am. This is what I have to have. This is what I need to make myself feel okay. But when you start exploring other options and other things, you discover that there's a lot more to you than just that little view that you may have. You discover that there's a lot more to enjoy, a lot more to experience, a lot more to discover about yourself. And that's very enlightening. It's very, it's fun.
Okay. And now I'm going to try to cross another bridge, which, if you don't mind. People have problems with, the drugs and alcohol. Have they tried your
Yes.
regime?
We've done a lot of work with people who are rehabilitating from drugs and alcohol abuse. And one of the things that the science of yoga really helps in terms of bringing out this balance is that you don't only just detoxify physically, because the physical detoxification is the easiest and the fastest level of detoxification. The next level is to detoxify the personality and the thing that caused the addiction in the beginning, which is whatever the problems were. If they don't get taken care of, the addiction is going to come right back again. Whatever the feelings about oneself, if those are not able to get changed and adjusted and balanced out, the person feels better about themselves and are clear about what they need to do about themselves, then the addiction is going to come back. They're going to go back to those same crutches that they were hanging on to before. So when you work with yoga, you detoxify yourself physically. We use diet a lot to help detoxify, and it's interesting because some of the things that we use in terms of food are garlic, beets,
I love
onions,
these.
ginger,
Good.
you know, lots of mustard greens. Okay,
Yeah,
these are things
yeah.
that help to detoxify and cleanse the system. Then the other thing is with meditation, which we spoke about before. Meditation helps to get that mind balanced enough so that it is not as reactive. It is clear about who you are and what you feel about yourself and what you really want to do, and gives you a kind of a strength so that the temptations are not quite as tempting. They're not going to all go away, but you just have a little bit more strength inside to not do the things that you know are not good for you. Like you said, I know this is not good for me, but, you know what I'm saying? We all say, well, I know I shouldn't smoke, but, you know. So it's like taking that but, you know, and putting it someplace where it's not quite so, it doesn't win all the time.
Okay. So we know right now, let's recap it. Helps cleanse the system. Yoga
Yes.
helps you find yourself. You know, helps give you another state of mind and a whole new outlook on life.
A whole new outlook on life. Yeah, a way to view yourself in relationship to the things that you encounter every day that you have no control over. How to relate to yourself in relationship to those things.
Okay. All right, now say like somebody like me that would want to get into it. Do I have to go through any type of preparation? Do I have to really just get my mind, gotta clear my mind of all thoughts? And
No.
turn my radio, turn
No.
the TV on, pull out all the shades, you know, that.
Well, maybe turn your TV off a little bit. Maybe turn your radio down a little bit. But no, you come just as you are. You come with whatever physical situation you have going for yourself, whether you feel stiff or flexible or tired or whatever. You come with whatever state of mind you have. If someone says, I can't sit down for 5 minutes, they say, I can't keep my mind focused for 2 seconds. Come, bring just that. And by going through the process of exercising your body, of stretching your body, of toning your body in such a way that you can specifically work to strengthen your nervous system and get rid of the physical levels of stress, that's the first step. And at the same time, when you learn to breathe, learn to expand your breath and use your breath to calm and still your mind, then your mind belongs to you. Scientists say we use 10% of our whole potential. And the question I always have is, well, what's with the other 90%? You know what I'm saying?
That's a big number.
So it's a big number,
Yeah.
but that's what we're always being told. So if you want to begin to utilize more of yourself, more of your mental self, more, then you get a chance to experience greater levels of understanding, of mental clarity, and of mental determination to stick by the things that you know you want to do for yourself. So that bud doesn't become so big. So you can drive by McDonald's and say, it's cool, I may have one next week, but today I'm driving by, you know what I'm saying? Right on.
I'll be on the road to losing about 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah.
I can stand myself, but that's good. That's a good idea. That's a good thing. It's something good to think about.
I'm with the International Association of Black Yoga Teachers, and we're all over the country bringing more and more yoga into the African American communities and communities of color, inner city communities, because a lot of the more affluent communities are starting to use yoga a lot, and they're realizing tremendous benefits from it. And we want to be able to bring this home to the folks who really could use it. It's a very natural, organic way of strengthening oneself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And these are tools that were originated in places in India and Africa. We may as well start utilizing them in our own lives and our own existences, because they kind of started with us in a sense, you know. So it's like bringing it back home again.
Bringing it back home.
And it is wonderful to
That's good. That's
see
good.
it happening.
Now, you know, can you use that also with other forms of meditation?
Yes.
Like say I want to think about breaking a brick or something. Can I go through a routine of yoga and I'm gonna break this brick?
Well, and that whole routine is employing aspects of yoga in it. In fact, many of the martial art traditions have a foundation of yoga that exists with them in terms of the breathing, in terms of the kind of exercising, stretching postures that you hold, in terms of the kind of focus, mental focus, meditative mind that gets developed. It's all in there. So yoga kind of goes with everything. It doesn't discriminate.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You know, just listening to your voice, I feeling relaxed already.
Oh, good. Take a long, deep breath.
Okay.
Deep breath. Oh, you didn't do it right.
We'll get into that. Look. We're gonna get into that though. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna definitely try because I know you said you were gonna try to school me on some techniques. So we'll try to get into that. I don't want to do nothing on the air, man, because I'll make it asleep or something. I don't know. I need you Saturday. See, I work at a hotel, man. My job is stressful, man. I tell you. I don't know if I could have got hold of you Saturday night. I probably would have been real relaxed then, you know.
I'll show you a few things you can take to work with you next week.
That's good. That's good. But I hope they don't come in the morning and find me, you know.
No. You'll be energized but relaxed.
I'll be energized but relaxed. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Are you? Do y'all have any email address? Are you online or anything like
yes,
that?
we are online. Actually, we're developing our website. We're at www.blackyogateachers.com.
Okay.
We can be reached through our email, yoga
Okay.
@blackyogateachers.com.
Okay. All right. Do keep those addresses in mind, as I know the internet is becoming a thing to do in this new millennium. And speaking of internet, radio's giving you problems. Can't reach me. Got a computer? Very simple. Go to www.appleshop.org. Just point and click your way around the directions, and bam, you're rolling with 8 Ball on the net.